East Coast Bowhunting Podcast in your ears. I'm your boy D-Rock here with
East Coast Trev.
And we just had a surreal / enlightening episode with TJ the Hunk Unger from Virtue TV. I mean, damn, this episode touched on so much. I was just telling Trev right here in my notes from my outline, I have like 26 different topics that obviously I'm not going to put in our episode description, but
you need your own social media platform to put all those in.
I think so. Well, the gist of it is we had a 2-hour conversation with this dude.
Yep. Well, it was an hour and a half with our half an hour intro. So,
well, I don't know. My phone call said 2 hours on my phone.
I think we had some pre-talking.
Oh, well, yeah. You're right. So that's what I mean. Maybe half hour just pre-talk. It's just insane.
There was some good conversation. I'll tell you that.
Full of knowledge. This dude has been there and back again. Forced to be reckoned with. Really touching base on everything that's good in life. Along with, of course, outdoors. Being a child, using his sultry voice. Adult voices as a child.
How he got into that is just next to none the best thing
insane.
ever.
I mean, not to segue from child to adult, Sour Patch Kids. I mean, from tarpon to turkey hunting, bow hunting. I put them in an awkward position, get them to open up.
I think we're just all across the spectrum from A to Z.
I think so.
And inspiring. Like if I could say one thing before you listen to this and then you put your earbuds in and you're getting going, is pay the fuck attention, because he is about to inspire you to be a whole new person. Because I know after me listening to him talk for this past hour and a half, hour 45 minutes, whatever it is that he inspired me to be a better person after this.
And we covered everything from Elijah Craig to hemp fields. So #unity. Let's get the show on the road.
Lydia Walter, why East Coast Bowhunting Podcast?
Because neither one of us wear pink camo.
East Coast Bowhunting Podcast. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Look, man, I'm from Wisconsin, and I listen to the East Coast Bowhunters because you don't get anything more real than these guys.
Because East Coast Bowhunting sets the standards for keeping its listeners informed on everything that matters in the hunting industry.
It's nice having somebody, local and represent the East Coast boys.
The East Coast is going to saddle up.
Number one source for slaying whitetails on the East Coast.
Well, you might see Jesus if you actually shoot something, it'll get you into heaven.
Why East Coast? Why not? I'm East Coast, baby. That's how we roll. Chew on that.
Come on the show, a stranger, and you feel like one of the boys when you leave.
Because I get my hunting camp anytime I want.
There's some absolute monsters roaming the East Coast, and I think it needs a little attention, so why not bring it to the East Coast Bowhunters Podcast?
Man, because East Coast is a tight-knit crew, and y'all like me. Raw, real, no bullshit.
Because you guys are hometown boys. I love you guys.
This is Kurt Geyer with Working Class Bowhunter, and East Coast Bowhunting Podcast is the only hunting podcast I'll tune into.
This is the East Coast Bowhunting Podcast. We're a hardcore outlook to the hunting industry. We strive to give a slap-you-in-the-face approach by keeping it 100 and fun. We cuss, we drink, we don't hide the truth. So if this ain't your style, there's other shows that are out there for you. But if this is right up your alley, well then, saddle up, because it's going to be a hell of a ride. I'm your boy D-Rock, here with
East Coast Trev,
and we're at Slayer Studio in Coventry, Connecticut, hiding in the mountains of God's heaven. TJ Unger from the Virtue TV is here to join us as he tells us how he had an outer body experience to come back with a positive force of fury. This episode is brought to you by Shabeen Brewing, the Hunter's Beer.
The best beer on the East Coast.
100 Demons, East Coast hardcore music, known worldwide. You listen to this and it'll smack your mama. Trev's Euros for all your Euromount needs.
That dude is still a douchebag.
But he's pretty good with the bone. Encore Targets. Self-healing targets to self-heal your pockets. Perfect budget target for my Mexican ass.
2D.
Meyer Trail Cameras. Who's on your hit list?
The best trail camera on the market.
Why is that, though?
Because, I mean, it's like 4K.
Yo, straight up, though.
Yeah, I mean, like, some of these,
crazy.
the pictures that they're coming out are just out of this world.
Outright hunting products. The Morph Pro is the last bow hanger you'll ever buy. Basically, if you want the ultimate tree hanger or bow hanger or trail cam hanger, everything hanger, hang your dirty laundry, this is the set for you. Even if you're a fisherman, it's perfect. I've seen a lot of fishing boats with the Morph Pro. It's dope. Death Wish Coffee, the world's strongest coffee. Use promo code EastCoast10.
Crack cocaine in a cup.
Ethics Archery. It's like steroids for your arrows. Use East Coast 10 for a promo code. Basically, you're going to be slinging axes with this thing. Tree Thrasher. Imitate the wild. Use promo code East Coast 15.
If you want to make the full circle in the woods, you get yourself a tree trasher.
Gator Outdoors. Your one-stop shop outfitting the working class. This is the shop for working class for your ass. You want to get anything off a website? I mean, drop the Amazon because there's Gator Outdoors. Nor'easter Game Calls. Get them in close.
The best on the market. And they have the new Evolution series coming out. It's the new and improved Blood series.
It's going to have many vibrant colors, collars,
badass bands on it.
Rubber
the
tubings.
collars.
I mean, it's going to be super high end, and the colors are just unreal.
2.0.
Very, very attractive. Shit, porn star might even find a use for them. This show is driven by Scranton Motors and powered by Scranton Power Sports. This is the way that we drive on road and in the woods. So get yourself a GMC Cadillac Buick, maybe even a Chevy. If not, you going into the woods, rock that Polaris. In the snow, in the summer, on dirt, in the street. Fuck it. Let's do it. Saddle up with Wild Edge Inc., the leader in mobile hunting.
The leader in mobile hunting. I don't even know. You caught me off guard on that one. Sorry. I'm going to go with if it can hold my fat ass, it'll hold yours. But they have everything from your steps to the perch to something new coming out, and all the carabiners and ropes and linesmen. It's just a one-spot shop for mobile hunters.
I definitely caught you off guard.
Yeah,
on that
I'm fucked.
This show is presented by Working Class Bowhunter, our podcast family. The reason people podcast, the brand in the hunting industry. East Coast Bowhunting Podcast is here as always for new and old hunters by sharing our experiences in the woods through playing and slaying. What's up?
What is up?
I don't know. You tell me, Trev. We're missing porn star in the studio today.
We are. And you know what? Not our news reporter, but our field journalist reporter just sent me a message saying that his oak stands are fucked. Raining acorns out in my area.
Really?
So that is live and local for you, but that's a huge deal to us here in the East Coast because this is something that we've been lacking for some time now, and to hear this is just I'm blown away. I'm absolutely blown away.
But that is more regional. I wonder if you're closer to the water, if that's the case.
See, he's like northwest corner.
Is he?
Yeah. So he's
that's
northwest
why.
corner.
That's why.
Yeah.
What, like Kent Falls area?
I believe that area, Simsbury.
Because in Waterbury, I mean, you saw the proof in the pudding. I was sending you pictures of that too.
Yeah, I mean,
later season.
Well, it's good to see that because we have the gypsy moss, and we've had so much rain, and that's the only thing that will kill them off. So it's good. It's good to see that the rain is doing what it's supposed to do, and he didn't have acorns last year, I guess, and so that's a good thing because he has them this year. So. Yeah, that's definitely a bonus. So that means that I got to get out in the woods after work and check out shit and see what's going on.
Yeah, you see the little mini food plot in my workers?
I did, dude. That's
I brought
so badass.
my little Mexican clan with me.
That is so awesome, man. That is so cool that you can get the little ones out there and do that, man.
That was the new 20 acres that I gained right by the water.
That's awesome.
So I didn't get to do any food plots in there. I'm like, you know what? These kids need to get outside. I drug their Mexican asses with me. And each gave them a rake or a hoe or even some hedge trimmers. You saw my son holding the hedge trimmers.
For sure.
And we went to town. I was cutting shooting lanes, making, easier point of travel, cutting down paths for them where I know from my Meyer trail cameras how they've been entering and exiting and passing through.
That's awesome.
And definitely I had to use my Wild Edge steps to climb up to my camera to actually cut more shooting lanes up there. And those, don't knock the electric power tools. I had an electric chainsaw and electric hedge trimmers, and not to shout them out or anything, but DeWalt, I mean, that battery lasts, man. The 20-volt lithium.
Yep.
I'm saying I did my whole yard with them, and I swear to God, we're not even sponsored by them, but I did my whole yard with them, and the trimming the bushes, whatnot, and then I went straight to the woods. And then afterwards, I attended to my garden because I needed to cut down some shrubberies for my garden.
I mean, that's like a huge thing, especially for us guys that have to hike into these spots and they're public land, or I mean, in your case, they are private, but you don't have the access of bringing in big equipment or anything like that and using. I mean, that's a ninja tip in itself, man. Bringing those electric cutters or whatever. We brought in a gas-powered one time into a gas-powered weed whacker that had the attachment for like a rototiller.
pole saw?
Yeah, me and Caddy Cowboy. We hiked in with that. It's actually a rototiller to put in the throw and grow. So it was kind of cool, something different, but that's definitely a big ninja tip.
Hell yeah, man. And that's why I urge the electric, power tools, because I mean you're saving Mother Earth in one more step in a different way, and they're quieter. So I mean, you have to be like a ninja. Oh, what's that sound I hear? Welcome to another edition of the Borderline Corral for borderline issues at hand. People, we need to support our local shops. We lead by example by starting from ground zero. If you're not shopping Gator Outdoors, you want to get your bow work done right before your eyes, shop at Trader Jan's Archery Pro Shop and Wicked Twisted Bowstrings to get that at-home feel and Archery Pro service. Supplying your archery needs since 1991. Get wicked and twisted at Trader Jan's. I'm saying, we're East Coast. Sometimes we can't get a hold of certain things from Gator Outdoors. And when you can't do that, go to your local shop. Shop Trader Jan's at Wicked Twisted Bowstrings. Orale!
That's me. Fishing and foraging fun with East Coast Trev. Our first report of local bonita have started to come in. That's meaning that the fall is almost here, with the fall sowebees not far behind. Blackfish season is still open for all of you spearfishing fanatics.
Why they gotta be black?
Well, because that's just what they are, buddy. That's just the way it is.
All right.
The local striper bite is still on. It's red hot with tons and tons of big fish filling in on our local reefs. Still being taken on eels, top water, and trolling tube and worms, and also snapping wire.
I hate trolls.
Well, me too. Can't stand them. Bottom fishing is still producing some very great numbers of big sea bass and fluke. We're fishing up to 110 feet of water. The bluefish are coming in full steam, and some are even pushing over 15 pounds.
I wonder if they're holding their breath, and that's why they call them bluefish.
Ooh, good thoughts. Is that like a turkey when it's spitting and drumming?
That's what I'm saying.
Yep, I get it. The offshore bite is absolutely on fire. The bluefin tuna and the yellowfin are just absolutely everywhere in the canyons, and killer reports still coming in.
Or if you're Mexican, you call them blue tail or yellow tail, right?
Oh, really? Oh, that's just backwards. Some really nice swordfish being caught while chunking in the deep dropping of squid in the canyons also. So that's an extra bonus. I guess if that's what you're going for.
Bonus.
There's also been 3 killed this past week from guys that I know personally.
Hell yeah.
The shark bite has also been off the hook, pun intended. Some really great threshers and makos being caught off parts of Block Island and Montauk in our local offshores.
Dude, mako shark is banging.
So's thrasher, man. Thrasher's definitely
gosh.
great eating fish. Dude.
Great tacos.
Ooh, tacos. I wish I had if one of my freezers didn't go, I would have brought some of those down to the chute, but it's down and out.
Don't give excuses. Just give it to me. I got plenty of freezers.
In the freshwater world, our good friends from the Huntland, Jeff Genke, Greg Tubbs, and Eric Clark, absolutely killing it up in the Lake Michigan with some giant salmon. Congrats, boys. You guys earned it. Still seeing some absolute hammer pike and muskie being caught. Fish up and over 40 inches. The boys at Working Class Outdoorsmen still making bloody decks with carp and snakehead, and even a couple loads of them stingrays. Our buddy Nick Sampson from Tree Stand Buddy, he's also getting in on the filling of barrels.
Hell yeah. All our friends hitting it up.
Yeah, they're hitting it hard. In foraging news, as I said in the last episode, your golden chanterelles and golden oysters can still be found in the woods today.
Okay, that's all right.
All right. So that is your weekly foraging and fishing fun with East Coast Trev. And like always, guys, send in your fishing reports and your foraging reports because we want to see them. Send your pics. I would definitely want to see your fishing pics.
And send Ryan the porn star your nudes.
Ooh, back at Ryan. Tag, you're it.
All right, let's get TJ the Hunk Unger on the line. We're back on the line with TJ Unger from the Virtue TV. Welcome to the studio, TJ.
What is up, fellas? It's great to be here. I'm glad we could finally connect.
I know, man. It's just one of those things, you know. I'm so happy we could finally make it happen because there's like so little time and we have so many friends and so many like things to do and priorities. It's like you try to squeeze in little tidbits and just feeling blessed today. Word, Trev?
Absolutely, 100%. We can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your day to do this with us.
No, it's absolutely my pleasure. You guys reached out to me to see if I would jump on an episode here with you guys, and it seems like that was 2 months ago. I've just been absolutely slamming buried busy with work, and it's oftentimes taken me after hours. So I'm glad we were able to carve out some time and all of us to jump on the line together. So I'm looking forward to it. This is awesome.
Hell yeah. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast wave, my brother. So let's kick it off right for the first-time listener tuning in or someone that doesn't necessarily know who you are. Let's kick it off right with who are you, where you from, and where we can find you.
Yeah, so as you guys introed, I'm TJ Unger. I'm with the Virtue TV. I've been doing this for a handful of years. So the Virtue has been around. We're in season 6. We air on Hunt Channel TV, Carbon TV, My Outdoor TV. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. We have a Twitter account, but honestly, Twitter's just to be Twitter. We're there, but we're not really active. So we are all online, man. We stream on all the platforms we can possibly get our hands around and try to manage in the time that we have between work, hunting, and producing a television show. So that's me. That's me in a nutshell. I'm just a normal guy who loves the outdoors and is lucky enough to carry around a camera and film ourselves out in the field and produce a pretty solid TV show that we love to share with our friends and families.
Amen, brother. Amen. And I do have to say, I mean, I just want to try to make you blush. You do have a sultry voice for radio or podcasting.
I've got that face for radio, don't I?
Yeah, you do, man.
It's just beautiful.
Shit, that smile, it's got a twinkle in the teeth and everything. It's like, ding.
I appreciate it. Going way back to when I was a kid, I spent a lot a lot of alone time at home, and I would listen to the 800 number commercials and for free VHS tapes and whatever, and I would call into those 800 numbers, and I would do my best adult voice to get those free VHS tapes. I'd get them in the mail. I'd tape over that little knockout, and I would re-record things like Michael Jordan's MVP induction and hunting shows on a Bowflex VHS tape. So I got my experience in speaking at a very young age, talking on the telephone, selling myself to get free VHS tapes in the mail.
That's pretty dope, man. Has anyone heard that on a podcast before?
No, absolutely. I mean, my mother knows, but other than that, no one else knows that, I don't think. And somewhere in the depths of our basement where I grew up, I'm positive there's Bowflex training VHS tapes, a whole shelf of them with a marker scratch out saying I don't even know, Michael Jordan national champion 1994 or whatever.
That's badass, man. I love it. So when did you start bow hunting, man?
Oh gosh, dude, I picked up a bow. I think I was probably in middle school. I probably just popped out of elementary school, and I started making a new set of friends. I lived in a pretty small town, and I lived on the opposite side of town than everybody else did. So all my time I spent outdoors. So I had a paper route, and rather than saving all that paper route money and, I don't know, buying a football or buying football cards or whatever the case, I bought my first used Bear compound bow. It's fiberglass limbs. I'm positive that somebody dry fired it before I bought it, but that was my entry into archery, and I carried that thing around in the yard and neighbors' woods, and honestly just shot everything that could possibly give me a shot. It was amazing. So I had a BB gun, at the age of 5.
Which one, a Red Ryder or no?
I think it had to have been a Daisy. That's all that existed back then, I feel like.
True. Well, you know what? Just to paint the picture, I don't mean to cut you off, but how old are you? Because you seem to be right around my age.
I am. I just celebrated my 39th birthday.
Hell yeah, my brother!
A month ago.
Congratulations.
So, I appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
So I've been around the block a couple times. But yeah, man, outdoors has been a part of my life. Ever since I was as little could be. So my dad gave me a BB gun, and I went out and pretended like I was hunting and set my alarm clock early as could be. And, I'd even have friends over staying the night, and I'd be the first one up and out the door pretending like I was hunting out in the woods with my BB gun. But as soon as I got that bow, dude, it was next level. I mean, that was really when I honed in on that whole thing that we know as hunting. And I promise you, to this day, I will never, ever be as accurate as I was when I was 12 years old. I carried that bow everywhere, and I shot everything. And that was my pastime and my passion, and it was amazing. So that was it. So I started carrying around the bow when I was probably 13, maybe 12, somewhere around that age, and haven't really looked back. I took a stint when Thompson Center came out with their inline muzzleloaders, and carried a muzzleloader for a long time and just about wouldn't hit the whitetail woods without it. But jumped back over and been carrying an Elite for the last, I don't know how many years. And just absolutely love just that intimacy and that connection that we've got as archery hunters. Not that there's anything wrong with any gun hunters or anything like that. I mean, it's still getting outside, but there's another level of respect that I can appreciate with bow in hand.
Amen, brother. We're Team Elite as well, so we definitely share the passion and the intimacy with bow hunting, because a good friend of ours, to quote him, it is a deep rabbit hole, if you will. Shout out to Kurt Geyer. I mean, I could speak for him. He has a definitely fathomable passion to the whitetail woods specifically, but especially archery. It seems like the way he talks about it, it's almost poetry, and the way we live our passion, it's definitely an extension of our body. So we could definitely relate there, man. For sure.
Yeah, very much so. That's good stuff, man. That's beautiful.
Hell yeah, without a doubt. So when you were 12 or 13 years old, hitting the woods with your bear archery bow, Now, did you like kind of picture yourself to be some type of like alter ego? Like me, myself, for example, I always hit the woods. I was huge into cartoons when I was younger and illustration, and I was an artsy fartsy type of dude, you know, music, drawing, what have you. But I love to shoot and kill shit too. So when I went into the woods, I was always infatuated with the Disney movie Robin Hood.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Especially when he was the stork at the competition, and that's when he started Robin Hood and his arrow. So I would always hit the woods thinking I'm Robin Hood. Did you have an alter ego like that?
That was, as a kid, that was definitely of my favorite Disney, all the movies. That definitely by far and away was my favorite. But, man, I spent my time watching religiously Marty Stauffer. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Marty Stauffer with Wild America. That dude was the OG. He, taught me that greater appreciation of just being outdoors and completely immersed in the wildlife and in nature. And, you know, even though he wasn't carrying a stick and string and hunting, he was chasing down these animals and getting, you know, super close encounters with these things and telling amazing stories along the way. So, you know, I feel like I was going out there as like a Marty Stauffer kid. It's just, I had a bow in my hand, you know. I was chasing this stuff down and having those encounters. And, you know, I love watching birds and just the different animals and all that. But it was just a different experience for me. You know, he's traveling the world seeing this stuff. So yeah, that guy, in my opinion, is a legend. You don't hear anybody talk about him.
No, not anymore. Anyways, it's
been
a while,
and it's too bad. The guy was amazing, and I definitely looked up to him in a lot of respect. He was a gentle guy, and but also a manly man, and he was awesome. That's I watched that every time it was on, and then ran out to do my own exploring and usually toting that bow. So,
you know what?
Marty Stauffer.
Hell yeah. You know, in relation to that, like I could, and you know what? I kind of feel guilty, but at the same time, he was an animal lover, but he would always do it with his bare hands. Mine was Steve Irwin growing up.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? That dude was a savage. He would never even, I'm sure he hunted in the past, but his passion was just snagging these random animals with his bare hands, which is like, dude, this dude's got a serious screw loose in his head, man.
Rocky.
You know, God rest his soul, but man, what kind of passion he brought to the table for the outdoors, man.
Yeah,
so yeah, I can relate to looking up to someone.
His
like
interview
that.
skills with wild animals was next to none.
Oh, absolutely. You know, he had that passion that you don't even have to watch. You can close your eyes and he's making you smile. I mean, just that magnetic, just energy and passion for, you know, sharing it with other people and educating and inspiring people. He's an amazing guy.
Well, you know what? Talking about that magnetic personality, man, it's just like, this brings me to you, TJ. That's why we wanted you on the show, because you have that kind of, you know, you touch home to a lot of people. You're very relatable, and a lot of people can really like see that you have a love for the outdoors, and not just a love for the outdoors, but a love for people and the animals that surround us. So that brings me to the, like, what new ventures you got going on right now? I see a lot of, like, you know, you're obviously super busy, and then you get the kind of random posts. Yeah, I'm a bit of a troller, I guess. I like to keep tabs on my boys, that I don't really get to see often enough. And, you know, I see the business meetings. Is there anything that you can kind of, like, breaking news for us?
Yeah. So, well, number one, rewinding a little bit, I really appreciate the comment, man. You know, my whole thing is being kind to each other and trying to inspire everybody and challenge and get other people to push themselves to do something that they might not otherwise do. So for me, it's not about egos and about, you know, who you are or who you aren't or anything like that. So you guys noticing that and commenting means a lot to me. So I appreciate that greatly. So,
oh, no doubt, brother.
Yeah, man, just busy. So as you guys know, I am working class. You know, I don't do the Virtue TV for a living. So I've got a real job that keeps me very, very busy. And summer months are our busiest season. So we stack up. We're pretty busy all throughout the year, but for whatever reason, for all of the years that we've been in business, this June, July, August have always historically been our busiest season. So I try to stack up and make it happen when I can. And then as the business slows down a little bit in the fall months, then I take time and spend it outside. So
are you talking about Whitetailer?
No. So I actually am part of a consulting company. So I've been working for an environmental health and safety consulting firm for almost 20 years now.
Oh, so, wow. Awesome.
Yeah. So we are a business to business consulting company. We're called 7Gen, like 7 generations. And I actually started out as an intern on the environmental consulting side of the house. And we also do occupational health and safety. So we go out to companies in really any industry that you can absolutely think of. I mean, manufacturing, healthcare, food products, you name the business, we provide a service for those companies. So our consultants go out and evaluate risks, be it health risks or chemical risks, safety risks, and potential environmental releases, and help companies mitigate those risks. So basically helping companies stay healthy and safe and keep the environment clean. The not so soft side of it, we're helping companies maintain compliance with OSHA and EPA regulations. So it's not as fluffy or as nice sounding, but companies have to maintain compliance. So that's what our consultants do. And I handle our business development and marketing, and I run all of our new sales. So like I said, man, I've been doing this right out of college. It was my first career. We went through a number of acquisitions by very, very large companies. The more recent was Humana, the insurance company. They purchased us somewhere around 2012 or 2011, maybe. I don't even remember. And we operated with those guys for a couple of years. And then we were afforded an opportunity to buy the business back. So me and 4 partners, we went together and purchased the company back. So in a quick, what was that? Maybe 12 years in business or 13 years in business. We went from being a small privately held firm in a good friend's basement to now having 5 offices and somewhere around 35 consultants throughout the U.S.
Damn, congratulations, man. That's awesome.
It's an awesome business to be in. It's a different day every day. And if you've seen the movie or the television show, How It's Made, that's a big part of what we do. We go learn how a product is manufactured and identify what risks are associated with that and help companies stay safe doing it. So it's cool, man. It's definitely a side tangent to like my passion. It's I love the outdoors, and I love people and taking care of people. And, so that's, it's a use of what my real interest is, but, at the end of the day, it's still a job, right? That's what I do to pay the bills. So, how I burn off the steam and release and get that energy and refuel is through hunting. And, so with the Virtue, that's the other side of the house. So, I handle all of our partnerships, our sponsors and contracts and marketing and business development for the Virtue too. So that's in my free time, what little bit of free time I have. So
wow, that's that's really awesome that you kind of like you make that cake on your day to day, but it still contributes to conservation in essence. I mean, if you think about it, and it's really cool that you can still live at least a piece of what you're passionate about, and you really get to apply your marketing skills from your school. It's definitely something to be said. Myself, or even Trev, like Trev gets to live the dream as well. He's a commercial fisherman during these seasons. And then once whitetail season comes into play, like late October, early November, you kind of die off with the fishing?
No, I'm done the end of October. So October I go to 3 days a week, and then after that I'm done for season.
So cool. That's a whole different lifestyle right there.
Yeah, and then I have a taxidermy business in the winter, so I do that during deer season. So
yeah, so you can relate to the long nights, early mornings, and and running on E nonstop, it seems like.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I'm up at 5 in the morning, so I'll podcast till midnight, and then I'm up at 5 on the boat all day, and then we try and grind it out 3 days a week, so it gets crazy.
Meanwhile, TJ, my Mexican ass rides his ass to get to the studio because we have 3 different studios, and I'm like, well, you need to be here at this time so we can lay down a track because you need to get it in during this season. I mean, there's never an off season, but this is definitely like kind of, slow season where you need to keep it interesting for the people that, I mean, in our business, it's entertainment and information. So, I mean, the off season, everyone, okay, I'll lay it down this way. During deer season, it's going to be tough as hell to get a hold of someone unless they get a big buck down,
Right, exactly.
Then everyone wants to talk about it. But before then, everyone's on their mission. So, again.
Man, I'm a firm believer. Like, I haven't vocalized this to too many people, but for me, and I think that other people, when I say this, can totally relate, but a massive part of what we do as hunters is the anticipation of it all. So the preparation and the time that we spend and all that. But right now in these summer months, especially these late summer, like hitting July on until season comes in, it is nothing but pure anticipation. So you have to, in this little industry that we're all in. So you guys with the podcast and us with the show, and we're trying to run social media accounts, and right now, in my estimation, is one of the most pivotal times of fueling those freaking social accounts and fueling those fans. Because everybody's doing the same thing. We're all working. We're not hunting. We're not having that outlet. So, us pushing out content and letting people see the behind the scenes of what we do for whatever it is, food plots or supplemental feeding or whatever the heck we're doing. People are living vicariously through us. So I feel like this off season, July to when season kicks off, that's when the mass majority are consuming content.
Hell yeah. And to that, this is for you. Shabby.
I got to ask a question, TJ. Did you end up getting your sponsorship with Sour Patch Kids?
Man, I'm still working on it. sitting here at my desk. So I've got my laptop here. I've got, I'm on the phone with you guys. I'm doing about 1,000 different things, but I legit have a net weight 1 pound, 14.4 ounce bag, resealable family size Sour Patch Kids on the desk.
That is amazing. That is, I was about to ask, like, what is your favorite poison? And we're sipping Shabeen, one of our sponsors, craft beer. But it seems like that's your poison of choice is the Sour Patch Kids. Where did you develop that from?
It's a staple. I've been a big fan since I was a kid. Don't get me wrong. I love ice cream. I love Ben and Jerry's ice cream. I love
the Sour Patch ice cream.
Dude, you put Sour Patch Kids in an ice cream, now it's next level.
Yeah.
So, I joke about it, and I've always got it no matter where I go. And I absolutely had to. I know people I caught some heat for it and whatever during turkey season, but I had a box of Sour Patch Kids, and I thought, I absolutely have to do this. I have to do this for myself. We have to take a cheesy hero shot, me bashing out the big box of Sour Patch Kids with my turkey fanned out. We got to do it. Right?
Yeah.
So I threw it out there on my social, just, haha, I don't really care if somebody's going to talk trash. I don't. It's not going to bother me. But I threw it out there just to get a kick. Dude, Sour Patch Kids. Sour Patch Kids. My wife and I are on vacation, and I started getting all these notifications. I'm like, what in the world is going on? What I do? I don't know. And Sour Patch Kids reposted my Sour Patch Kids post.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was glorious, man. It was day made for sure.
That's a bucket list, I want to say,
Right. Yeah, man.
Is that what you fed the Tarpon to, was the Sour Patch Kids?
Yeah, right? Shit.
I've been waiting all this time to ask you about that Tarpon. I need to know. What in the world were you thinking?
It's pretty wild. It's a pretty wild little experience. Those tarpon are massive fish. But if you've ever been up close to one, they don't really have teeth. I mean, they do, but not like barracuda teeth or something like that. It's like glorified bass teeth. Okay. And we had seen a couple people do it. And we'd seen a couple kids like throwing fish in the water, and the tarpon would jump at it and whatever. And I was like, I don't really want to do this. And I passed Liz a little bucket of fish. And I was like, yeah, you should try this. It might be kind of cool if you try it or whatever. It might be fun. And she stuck her hand down in there and dangled it around. And dude, those fish exploded out of the water. She was terrified. She threw the fish, and I was game. I'm like, I'm in. Give me a fish. I'm trying this thing. And dude, those things were dinosaurs, man. They're like 8+ feet long, and just hungry for it. So, yeah, it was a pretty wild experience. They burn up your arm a little bit, but, dude, it was awesome. It was awesome.
You didn't try and put it on the dock with you or anything crazy like that, right?
If you could have grabbed a hold of that sucker, they would just go fast. They didn't, they didn't jump and bite on and hang on. They just like snapped at you. And that was kind of it, but if there was a way to try to pull that sucker out of there, I would have done it. I absolutely would have grabbed that sucker and pulled it out of the water.
So there is a viral video of a guy grabbing hold of like a 4-footer out of the water. And that's when I saw the picture the first time, I'm like, this crazy bastard did not try and grab a hold of this thing. Please tell me
they were
didn't.
Huge, man.
Yeah,
they were absolutely giant. Like their mouths were bigger than my head. When they come out of there, their mouths are just giant. They're amazing fish. One of these days, I will catch one on the fly. Like I would love to fly fish for them.
Hell yeah.
They're definitely they're number one target fish in the world. I would say, honestly.
Yeah,
they're up there.
It's up
for
there.
Sure.
Yeah, pound for pound, they are a great fighting fish, from what I understand.
But I had to ask. I just had to ask.
So, you ever make your way to the East Coast for hunting at all?
I've only. As far as I've gotten on the East Coast was a turkey hunt in North Carolina. So one of our guys, Joshua Moore, he lives in Turkey, North Carolina. So we had to go out there on a turkey hunt. Yeah. And man, we had a blast. It's different turkey hunting out there than what I'm used to here in the Midwest and every place else that I've been. But that's the only hunting I've done out there. I've had a couple of invites to go to like New Jersey and a couple other places for whitetails, but I just haven't done it. It's, some people say that you can kill some mega giants out there and they're sleeper states and this and that, but it's so different from what I'm familiar with. I whitetail hunt in the Midwest in agriculture and you take me out of that element and I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm not against it. Like I said earlier, I love a challenge. But we get such limited time to do this stuff. One of these days I'll make it up there for sure.
Well, we could definitely suggest if you're going to whitetail hunt specifically the East Coast, I would lean more towards closer to water, like maybe New York,
New Jersey.
It's
definitely sleeper states.
Rhode Island, and even southern Connecticut.
Maryland.
Yeah, Maryland. I mean, you want to stay in that armpit of the East Coast. You know what I mean?
That's what I've heard. I've seen some pictures of some giants being killed up there.
Dude, we don't talk about it too much because, I mean, we want to just keep it to ourselves and kind of, show proof in the pudding, but we definitely keep it to ourselves without a doubt.
Yeah.
And know what it is we're flooded with hunters, is what it is. We're flooded with deer. The deer numbers is ridiculous, but the giants, that's what's hard to find because they're so smart out here, and you're basically hunting mountain goats.
And a lot of it too, actually, it's the mountains and then it's the urbanized areas. So so it's definitely it's harder to even get into some of those areas, and it's definitely it's a totally different aspect of hunting, I guess. And with talking with everybody, you kind of realize that, like, wow, you don't realize what kind of gem you have until it's gone, I guess, or you know what I'm saying, or you're not part of it. So
right, exactly. I'm really interested in this urban hunting. So here where we live, I've we've got what used to be called now they're deer reduction zones. I can't even think of what the state used to call it. It might have just been urban season. But back in the day when I lived in a little bit bigger city, I had a couple of urban properties, and I was hunting literally in people's backyards, where I'd pick up 50 or so acres of real thick timber and hunt up in there. And it's all archery only. But dude, talk about a new set of challenges. Deer act entirely different when they're used to human interaction. Some people might think, there used to be, people around. They're used to the smell of fabric softener and, they're a little bit more tame animal. They are absolutely not. If anything, they're more skittish. A little bit of human pressure and they'll bump out and sneak to a little bit of hole. But man, it's intriguing to me because you can experience the same thing as, you get into big rural timber, way out in the country. You can get some mega giants. We do a lot of shed hunting, and this is probably 10 years ago. We shed hunted on some urbanized properties. We couldn't hunt it, but the landowner gave us permission to walk these farms, or I say farms, but you know what I mean. We were surrounded by like schools and elementary schools. Little kids are on swing sets and kicking balls around. And man, we picked up a match set. My side was like 74 inches. His side was just shy of like 78. Damn. And I'm telling you, we're surrounded by $500,000 homes with little kids running around and just these small little pockets of woods that if a guy could sneak in on, you could kill an absolute giant because these animals just, they're able to get old. Nobody's putting pressure on hunting these things. So have you guys seen, what is it? And I'm probably going to get the name wrong, but it's like suburban whitetail or something. These guys from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah. Actually on Carbon, right?
Yeah. Carbon. Is it urban whitetail or suburban whitetail?
It's suburban whitetail. Yeah.
Dude, that stuff is awesome to me. And
Isn't it?
Those guys are, that's what I'm saying. These guys are killing like Boone and Crockett bucks in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yep. Exactly.
It's wild to me. It is wild. I don't know if they're still pushing out new content, but the season I watched was pretty neat, man. It's pretty entertaining to watch.
It's definitely intriguing. And, just to give you a little touch of our flavor, you can look up our page. We recently put a little like kind of movie trailer on what we get involved with. But that's exactly what, me specifically, I hunt inner city. Mm-hmm. And there's little pockets of heavy timber, which I have to get permissions on because where I live, there's no public land. So anywhere I hunt where I live is all private land. But then you get like the transitions to where East Coast Trev lives, and that's like, acres upon acres of thick timber. And that's the challenge, really. Like we have a spot where you have to get. I guess it's public.
600 acres,
right? I guess it's public land, but you have to have permission.
Private. Yeah,
it's
like
one of those weird.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, but it's 600 acres and it's a mountain.
Jeez.
Yeah,
that's insane, man.
And it's an insane spot. You're talking.
That's where I located that double drop.
Yeah, there's some giants. So there was a 209 shot on that property,
right?
But it's just you're talking 1,000 feet above sea level at one point, but then some of it you're on 200 feet of sea level.
Crazy.
So like it's just a crazy and it's so different. So like talk about transitions in different areas. So like you have your hardwoods, you have your pines, you have your mountain laurels, you have river bottoms, you have fields, you have everything all in one, and it's so different because
you go from like ag to swamp to mountain laurels to it's just insane. It's insane.
It's a different thing also for me because that big woods is not something I'm used to. I'm used to hunting postage stamps, as we would call them, and there's these small areas, and then you get into that big woods, and you're talking. It's just a totally different world, man.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's just because what we're familiar with, if you put me on a 600-acre just piece of major timber, I'm gonna be lost. Chances are I'm gonna hang out right on the edge of it. But something to be said about that. Like I know that you can be very, very successful going deep into the timber, and I know that a lot of habitat is in there, and deer just thrive in that stuff. But deer are natured to be that edge niche creature. So their favorite habitat is right on that edge of two different habitats. So that's where we see a lot of the transition hunting and pinch points and that sort of thing. But their niche is edge of habitat.
You know what? I'm glad you bring that up, because you know what? That's when I'm finding the most sign is that first transition. You know what I mean? As far as bedding, I do have to say, I mean, I don't know, TJ, I don't think you give yourself enough credit, because I always preach this. It's like, it takes an experienced or an obsessed whitetail hunter to really learn, no matter where you throw them in. It could be Alaska, East Coast, West Coast, Midwest. It just takes that person that's really indulged in whitetail hunting to really hunt sign. And I think that's where a lot of people may be daunted in traveling outside of their realm, I want to say. Because, you know, I'm a little, I don't want to say standoffish. I would love to hunt the Midwest. But I really feel confident in the fact that I would just solely find the sign. And there's no way, I might not, you know, hit a booner, but I know I'll be able to get a good buck.
Yeah, you're going to have encounters, and that's what you know, and you know it for a reason. It's worked in the places you've hunted, and I promise you it'll carry over. I think a lot of times what we end up doing is when we go into those more unfamiliar environments and habitat, you feel like, oh, this is not where I'm at. This is not my home ground. I got to do, you know, I'm sitting on 600 acres. I guess I got to get deep, dark in there. Right. You know, that's what they do out here, I guess. But in reality, you know, a deer is a deer, and they favor, you know, what they do, whether they're out on the East Coast or in the Midwest. There are some similar habits that they'll have across the board.
Word up.
Just have a little different accent.
You know what I was trying to transition to originally from, if you ever hunted the East Coast, but we got off on a tangent. It's that addiction, man. It's that we're all addicted to the same drug, whitetail hunting. But
exactly.
But you ever get into bow hunting at all?
Out there on the East Coast?
Anywhere.
What do you mean get into bow hunting?
Well, you ever bow hunt, like, you know, kind of indulge in bow hunting whatsoever?
Just a little bit.
Like bow hunting fish?
Everything, man.
Yeah?
So that's what I mean, just a little bit. Like literally everything. So I can't tell you. The only thing that I'm hunting with a gun is waterfowl. So right now we're doing a little bit of bow fishing. We've had a ton of rain, so our waters are pretty muddy, but we do a lot of bow fishing around here. You know, turkey hunting. So I can't tell you the last turkey that I killed with a gun, and I've killed a lot of turkeys. And so probably 6 years ago, maybe, we started chasing them with bow and arrows. So, yeah, man, I'm hunting everything that I possibly can with a bow and arrow. But once season wraps up, you know, so we're chasing turkeys in the spring, we're chasing fish in the summer and shooting foam and all that fun stuff. And then we'll transition into whitetail, maybe mule deer hunt, elk hunt, of course. And then once the season wraps up, then we'll jump over into waterfowl. So that's the only thing that I'm chasing with a gun is ducks and geese.
Word. I'm sorry to kind of throw a weird question out there, but that's what I was kind of leaning towards. But just so you know, TJ, now that you're making friends on the East Coast, you ever want to bow fish, whatever, we know a few people, so definitely
dude,
reach
I love
out.
that, because right now what we fish, we're on reservoirs and that sort of thing, and you know we've got carp, Asian carp, and grass carp, but the main reservoirs that we're shooting fish on, you know, we're shooting like maybe 24-inch carp, maybe. There's just so many of them that you're shooting a lot, but they're not much, you know, in the way of size. But dude, I want to get out and I want to shoot some strange fish. It's a blast. It is an absolute blast. It's similar to, like, you know, waterfowl. So if you got waterfowl listeners or whatever, it's similar in that it's camaraderie. You're listening to music, you're hanging out, you're telling funny stories, you're jackassing, and you're just shooting at fish after fish. It's a blast. It's a great way to burn off steam, and obviously these are invasive species, so you know it's good for the ecosystem and helps, you know, maintain biodiversity and that sort of thing. But yeah, man, it is a blast. You give me anything that's legal to chase with a bow and arrow, and I'm in. I'm 100% game.
This is perfect time for Trev to chime in.
All right, so
he's been like,
So I
holding back now.
I just got back from Maryland. I was down there shooting snakeheads and carp. We were supposed to do stingrays, but the bay was a little too crazy for us.
The weather sucked.
Yeah. But you mean to tell me that carp are invasive? So I'll fill you in a little bit. Connecticut actually says that that carp aren't invasive. Common carp aren't invasive.
What?
Yeah.
Exactly. We have limits on them.
You know what, Trev? Go even back further and give a little bit of your background. So, maybe for our first time listener and TJ actually.
So I was actually a European carp fisherman. I was one of those guys, and I used to do a ton of it. I used to travel around, do all kinds of tournaments. You name it, I did it with a rod and reel. And I started when I was probably 15 years old. So then I went down to Maryland this year, hooking up with the Modern Assassin and Working Class Outdoorsman. They have a guide service or a potential guide service that they're starting to go shoot carp. So I started posting pictures back home of me shooting these carp, and I absolutely got ridiculed up and down about me shooting carp and how I'm an asshole, this, that, and the other thing.
They call them a faggot, all kinds of shit,
dude,
man. It was bad. Insane, man.
It was bad. So we have a limit. You can only shoot. You can kill or have a creel limit of 5 carp, only 1 over 30 inches, and the rest have to be under 30 inches. How crazy is that?
That is the most bizarre thing I think I've heard yet.
Welcome to Connecticut.
What's the rationale behind it? What's their reasoning?
They're just saying that they're non-invasive here, and they're actually a sport fish, and they've turned the DNR over to believing that.
That's wild.
Because I'll be honest. So in Europe, it's a $7.3 billion industry is carp fishing.
Well, that's the thing, TJ. Actually, what he's trying to say is, the first people that, land on the East Coast are Europeans. If not Europeans, Africans. So the first influence that we get in our fishing realm out here in the East Coast is just that influence from Europe and Africa. So it's weird though, because we're America, but at the same time, I mean, look at our ethnic culture up and down the coast. It's very much flooded of that. So we get that influence, and they become American, and that's the roots of it. That with the European carp fishing here in Connecticut, I really believe truly that's the highest influence. And not that it's rationale, I think it's just grown to be a culture here in the East Coast.
That's crazy, man.
Right.
That is crazy. So basically, a European appreciation or Asian appreciation, either one, an appreciation for these fish as a game species is preserving them in the East Coast and suggesting they're not having a impact or damaging.
That's what they're saying.
Certain parts of the East Coast,
That's crazy.
Insane, though.
But to me, they've taken it kind of to an extreme, because over in Europe, they actually creel out the small ones. Like you were saying about only shooting 24 inches. And one thing that they do in Europe is they kill all the small fish so that the bigger fish can get bigger. And they're not allowing that they want that to happen with having a limit of only killing one fish over 30 inches and only allowing us to kill the small ones to make them bigger so that they can catch them with rod and reel.
That's crazy. Question, are they eating them?
No.
Hell to the no.
They don't kill them.
They
don't kill them.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's
they don't.
Fish. Let them go.
No, listen. They have padded mats. They have special this stuff called Clinique. It's actually a liquid Band-Aid for carp. So when you hook them, you put it on there. They have special nets that are scale friendly. You name it. I mean, it's to the point that I was just so blindfolded by it, and I was just sucked into this life. And then I started to realize it, and I'm talking to all my friends, and they're like...
Well, you were younger, you know what I mean? Influenced by who you were chilling with at the time.
But they're like, you don't kill carp? I'm like, no, dude, like, they're fun to catch. And he's like, bro, you got to come down to Maryland. Let me show you what this is all about. And I start sticking these things with arrows. That was the most amazing thing I've ever done in my life. And then you realize how invasive they are, man. We were shooting goldfish and all kinds of other crazy invasive species.
Dude, that's so cool, man. That is so cool.
But
that's crazy. I had no idea. That's one of those things that like I have to look into now. You know, I love learning and being knowledgeable on the subject, and we're just doing this as a pastime. You know, so that's huge. That's crazy information right there. I had no idea.
Right. Welcome to the East Coast, TJ.
Yeah. Right.
It's great. It's just
but the best part is the snakeheads. I mean, you both fish in snakeheads. They're some of the best eating fish out there, and they're an invasive species.
If you come to the shoot, I'm bringing snakeheads with me.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Regardless of if we're going or not, you should do it because that'll freak some people out.
I'm going to bring some to eat so we can eat it.
Yeah, we're going to have porgies, snakeheads, I mean, by this time, we're going to have lobster too. But by this time, when we release this episode, we'll be back from the shoot. So. Yeah. But yeah, man, there's a lot to be said out here. I mean, rays, snakeheads, carp, goldfish, and my Mexican ass. I actually know how to make carp taste good, so I'm eating them.
I've heard of people. Obviously, people know that we both fish, and so people reach out all the time and ask if we eat the carp. I've had tons of people suggest that it's actually really good if you know how to clean it and cook it right. But I don't know, man. They're kind of a disgusting.
Well, an easy way is, when you take the scales off and whatnot, there's that like kind of brownish substance. That's actually like fish fat. If you take that out, it takes the fishy taste right out of it. And granted, they have a lot of bones and stuff, but it's bigger bones. But if you smoke the shit out of that, and then you let it soak in some type of marinade. Mm-hmm. After you smoke it, oh my God. And just like kind of reheat it with, I would suggest oven or frying pan when you reheat it. Fuck the microwave. But, oh my God, some of the best eating fish out there. I swear to God.
That's crazy, man. Well, yeah. I'm not against it. I just don't want to be the fellow that has to clean it and then eat it.
Yeah. Well, filter fish from the Jewish culture, that's what carp is filter fish.
Yeah, true.
That's actually what it is.
Yep.
So it's kind of cool that they eat it. Fun fact about a carp also is their pectoral fins. You can actually take them and clean them off, skin them, and actually whiten them, and it's actually a bone.
Yeah.
What?
Yep. Yeah. So like how we do European mounts with the bone?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can take the pectoral fin, you can cut it off, you can skin it, and it's actually a bone, and you can actually whiten it, and it's actually like a carp trophy.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Just fun fact.
Fun fact.
This is good stuff, man. This is good stuff.
Coming from the Euro guy, yeah. Oh, shit. Awesome. So let's make a hard right turn into what got you into self-filming and then plus more. Like, tell us how you started, self-filming your hunts or having your hunts filmed and then transitioning into the Virtue.
Yeah, so... It was probably, I'm trying to think back, 2007, maybe, something like that, 2006. I attended an NWTF convention, the national convention. It was the last year that it was held in Atlanta. So whatever year that was, if anybody's ever familiar with any of that stuff. But I bought a ticket to a banquet, to the big banquet dinner, reception dinner. And it was last minute. Walk in and... The lady shows me to my table and I sit down. I'm a big fan, I'm watching all the shows and watching DVDs back then and loving what is the hunting industry and hunting shows and all that stuff. When it's, in my opinion, when it's in the prime, like it's really ramping up from back in the day VHS to really modern day, higher production rating TV series. So I sit down at this table and folks start filtering in, and I happen to look over, and there's Michael Waddell sitting that's across the table from me, and Craig Morgan comes over. He sits at the same table I'm at. Miss America sat down at my table.
Damn.
And I'll tell you what, though, the one dude that absolutely blew me away that walked in and sat down right next to me was Philip Vanderpool.
Really?
So that was
love that guy.
That was the season that his double drop aired. Whatever year that was, I don't know. Shame on me for not knowing. But that was the season that thing aired. And I mean, tell you, dude, I watched that stuff religiously. So his double drop episode was nominated for like greatest emotion, greatest story, all that good stuff. And won awards for it. I watched it all the time. It was the first time that I had heard, somebody's heartbeat racing while they're on this hunt. Dude, it was fantastic. So before seasons, opened, I would watch that episode over and over and over again. Philip sits down next to me, and he just strikes up conversation like I'm one of the guys. In reality, I am. You guys said it before. I am nobody among everybody's. And
whoa. Let's be clear. What we said earlier is we're nobodies, and you're somebody. I just want to be clear on that. But yes, please continue. I'm sorry to interrupt.
So Philip and I strike up conversation. We're sharing pictures. We're going on, telling hunting stories and all that good stuff. And I'm just wowed by it. I've got my Motorola Razor or whatever I've got at the time, and I'm sending text to all my friends saying, dude, you're not going to believe this. I'm sitting next to Philip Vanderpool. So I left and had a little bit of work to do in Atlanta. And a couple days later, my phone rang, and it was Philip. And, he was just calling to shoot the stuff and BS on his drive home. And, man, we hit it off. We had a great friendship right out of the gate and stayed in touch for a long time. So at the time, he was still with Hunter Specialties. And then started to make a transition over into his own television show. We ran that show on Sportsman Channel for a couple of seasons, but through that he invited me to participate in the show. So I went on a couple of hunts with him. We filmed one hunt. I went out to Oklahoma with my dad. We took a trip out there for their muzzleloader season or rifle season and a handful of days of archery. So it was kind of a back-to-back hunt. I think we were out there for 10 days maybe. And I had a successful hunt, but it was one of those things that I killed on the very first day when temperatures were still wonderful. This is in like December. Temperatures were wonderful. And then day 2 through 10, it was like 80s and 90s. So I don't think anybody killed the rest of that time. But Roger Patton at the time, he was the videographer that was with me. Roger's a great dude. I still keep in touch with Roger today. He's a very talented photographer and, just a great, great dude. But that may have been my first official videoed hunt. Now, we messed around with video cameras as kids, and I was one of those guys that I wasn't just into one thing. We skate. We used to skate. We used to rollerblade and do all that stuff. And we actually used to video ourselves doing that. We didn't do anything with it. This was way before the time of YouTube or whatever, but we would make our rough little edits of either skate videos or whatever the heck.
That's dope.
And then kind of transition that over and videoed ourselves, shooting bows and doing that. So, but I think that hunt with Roger and Philip and my dad, I think that was my first like legit with a professional videographer, and then debut on the Sportsman's Channel, like the first time I ever went on TV. So that was probably somewhere around 2009, maybe somewhere around that. And then I just stuck with Philip and started videoing our own stuff, field producing on our own and trying to learn as much as I could about camera equipment. At the time, I was way better at shooting pictures. You mentioned that you're kind of that artsy guy, and I was too. I went to school originally for fine commercial art, so I took some photography classes. So I knew my way around taking pictures, but video is a whole nother world. So it took me a few years to get super comfortable with it. But we've done a lot of self-filming over the years, and like I said, 6 years ago, we started the Virtue. So it was Philip, our good friend Dave Voisey, who is a super good dude. If you're not familiar with Dave, check him out. He produces Team 200 and works with Conquest since, and does some great work. So I can't even list all the shows that he produces, but dude is very, very talented. So Dave and Philip kicked off the show and pulled me in, just kind of from a marketing and development standpoint. So out of the gate, I helped them kind of create what is now the Virtue TV. So conceptually, it was all their idea. But it just, it takes time for something to really take off. And so I was on board to help out and to field produce and do whatever I could to make it a success. So here we are in season 6. and me and Philip are best of friends, and we travel all over the stinking place, hunting together and doing what we absolutely love. So that's really, I would love to say that I worked my tail off to get to where I am, but in reality, man, it was more about relationships and being honest and being passionate and sharing it with friends. And that's my very favorite part of what we do. I've got a core group of friends here at home that we love hunting together and filming each other and photoing. And I truthfully, I don't care if it goes on TV or if it goes on the web or if it's just a memory. For me, it's about capturing this stuff that we absolutely love to share it with each other and share laughs and that sort of stuff. But for me, that's what it's all about. And I think that may be part of the reason why, the Virtue, a lot of people, consider it to be a very authentic and genuine show. It's not Hollywood. We're not running Reds. We're not spending $400,000 a year budget. We're doing this because we absolutely love doing it.
That's, what, I could definitely see where you kind of, not to put it this way, but like found the love for PViddy because Trev and I had the privilege of putting him on the podcast at the Iowa Deer Classic. And, there's so many people there. It's like out of all the people there, like we felt the need to get him on. And honestly, man, he's such an emotional dude in a positive way. He's a freaking tearjerker with his storytelling. He's a really good storyteller, man.
Yeah, he really is. And there's a side of Philip that not a lot of people know. So, people watch the show and they know Philip as being a very passionate outdoorsman and sharing, these memories with friends and underprivileged and whatever you've got. And that's truthfully the best part of Philip is his heart. But over the last however long I've been working with Philip and great friends with him, I've learned this other side of Philip, and it is his leadership quality.
Oh yeah.
What I do for a living and helping to run a business, there's a lot of egos in the industry and in business and that sort of thing. And everybody thinks they know the greatest strategies and that.
Right.
But I've learned a lot from Philip in his humble nature, but leading number one by example and giving everybody the opportunity to, prove who they are. And rather than when it comes time to maybe part ways or try to seek an improvement or something like that, Philip just has this way about him that inspires people to want to do better and to work a little bit harder, not for any other reason than it's just the right thing to do. So Philip has taught me a lot from a leadership standpoint that I use today in business. I don't even know if I've told Philip that, but there's a side of him that not a whole lot of people know that a whole lot of people could learn from.
Amen, brother. Amen. And you know what? I bring this up only because, again, Philip was a tearjerker. To us, you're an inspiration, and I really need to know a little more, not in detail, but a little more like what happened with the accident, because I swear to God, the first time I heard about that was on Working Class Bowhunter, which is our title sponsor, and their podcast where you kind of laid down the story a bit, and I swear to God, man, it's just, you could tell, I'll give some of the credit to Philip, because you could tell a good story too, man. And I swear, man, I had that frog in my throat. I'm like, nope, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. But it's just like, as soon as Kurt is like, I feel like I'm going to cry, it's like, fuck, what is this wet substance coming, like, cultivating in my eyes? Like, what is this? Why am I feeling this? So, I mean, just take us through this experience a little bit, because, I mean, I had all my buddies jumping on board because you had, and this is a loaded question, so I'm sorry, but this is something that I was really passionate about, because I can relate in so many ways, but I'll let you tell the stories, because you had a special kind of bottle opener. I was like, oh, what better way to celebrate the outcome with that, which of course we contributed to. So take us through that memory, if you will.
Yeah, man. So as I tell this, to you guys right now, it still does not seem real to me. It doesn't seem like it really happened, and it's still hard for me to swallow, and hard for me to really accept the gravity of all of it. But very, very real, very, very challenging. But a story of overcoming and pushing through. So I was in a cool place. I felt like I was on top of the world, and I felt like I was a really good dude living the life that I was supposed to do. But looking back today, I was living a pretty selfish life. The happiness that I was finding was I felt like I was probably pursuing things just to make myself happy. But I was still a good dude. I was doing things for other people and that sort of thing. But happy-go-lucky, and with a mentality that nothing's going to happen to me or my loved ones. We're just here to do what we're supposed to do. And beautiful, beautiful day ended pretty abruptly in a car wreck. So I was traveling down the highway and experienced an encounter with a commercial vehicle, and rolled my truck down the highway and was trapped inside the vehicle for almost an hour. I can't tell you how many bones in my body, and totaled my truck severely. You couldn't tell what kind of vehicle it was, but broke both my legs, femur, and my what's called the tibial plateau. So basically your knees, my tibia and fibula, and
Jesus.
I could say everything from the waist down, but there were a couple bones that we don't know if were broken. But my pelvis and hips and everything were shattered. So from the waist down, I was pretty mangled up. Left side of my body, my ribs were cracked, and my arm and shoulder was broken, and my jaw. And then I had a lacerated spleen, and my bladder. My bladder was ruptured. So I went through pretty rough time for an hour stuck in that vehicle. And like I said, that's where I'm like, man, that couldn't have happened. Like, that really just could not have happened to me, but it definitely did. And I still have very vivid memories of what went on. I never passed out, in the amount of time that I was stuck in the truck. My memory has kind of buried some of the more traumatic things, so my legs were completely mangled. The truck came to a stop upside down, and I was completely mangled up. My left leg was broken and flipped upside down and turned back on itself. So Jesus. I was wearing my favorite shoes of all time, my Jordan 1s, and the sole of that shoe was up by my face. And it took me a minute to realize that shoe was still attached to my foot. My foot was still attached to part of my leg. And it was, dude, I was mangled up in there. And the stories that I've learned from first responders and from the people that helped save my life, just, it's unreal. My perspective is one thing, but to hear, actually how my body was positioned and the way that I was and the state that I was in all rights, I should not be here today. There's no doubt about it. But, I think there was somewhere around 70 first responders that came to the wreck and contributed to saving my life. And the vast majority were volunteers, which is just absolutely astounding to me. So, the guys, they climbed in the truck with me. One guy in particular climbed in the back seat and held my hand through the whole thing. And as the fire departments are cutting the truck apart, it's collapsing on us. But that dude never left my side. We had some pretty real conversations around if I was going to lose my legs or if I would walk again, or just a number of things that you would never expect to ever talk about. And then guys, climbing in, another guy had to straighten my leg to get me out. And, there's just stuff, I'm telling you, it doesn't seem real. Once they got me out of the truck, they had to, piece me back together and cinch me up and put me on the helicopter. And I had such major bone breaks, so my femur and pelvis and other things, that I had virtually no blood pressure. They couldn't get IVs in me, and was a pretty rough spot. So once I got on that helicopter, they informed my wife once we got to the hospital that I flatlined twice on the way to the hospital. So it tells you, how desperate of a situation I was in. Before the wreck, I believe, I had a level of belief and faith, but what I consider pretty convenient based. It was when I needed something, I might pray, or when I had a really exceptional day, I might give a little bit of thanks, but that was it. That was the bulk of it. And that day, August 18th, that day was the day that I can tell with 100% conviction and confidence that God is real. And I felt his hand as I was in that truck, and I knew that everything was going to be all right. In that kind of a position, I really, words can't describe, or explain or describe what a person goes through or what you feel and the fear and everything. But man, he definitely gave me strength and peace. And I don't know exactly why I stayed awake. I've asked doctors and the EMTs and all those guys why they thought I stayed awake, and there's really no explanation for it. But the more I think about it, I really think that I was given those memories as a gift so that I can share God's story, and I can share the story of what happened to me to maybe inspire some other people, or maybe, just give some hope and some strength and determination to some other people. So, it was a long road to recovery. And there were a lot of ups and downs along the way related to depression and just all of the therapy and everything that you go through. Man, it was a tough spot. It was brutal and scary and painful, and every negative adjective that you could absolutely think of, I experienced in a pretty short amount of time. But in that recovery, very thankfully, I regained the ability to walk again, and got a lot of my strength back. I still have a lot of challenges today. I still battle pain every single day. I can't do a lot of things that I used to do. But I'm here, and I've overcome a shit ton, more than anyone living should probably go through. But I have a hell of a story, and I love the idea that I can use that story to bring faith and inspire faith in some other people. So, I've learned that, a big part of being a faithful guy and being accepted, as a believer and to be gifted the opportunity to go to heaven, we have to witness, and we have to, come to terms with the fact that we're sinners. And, one thing that I love, and prior to the wreck, I had sinned. I had done some not so great things that I never was proud of, so much so, or to the extent of, I wasn't sure if when I die, whatever day that is, if I would be accepted in heaven. And what this wreck gave me was a whole new outlook. Yes, I had sinned, but I knew that through that tragedy and through, the flatlining and like I said, in all rights, I should have been dead, but God gave me a second chance at life. And that was, to me, his gift, saying, you're my son, and you have a mission, and I love you even though you sinned, and I'm going to give you another shot. And that's what I'm doing today, brothers.
Damn, man. I'm giving you such the biggest hug right now, TJ. You don't even know, man. No, for
it's
real,
crazy.
though.
Like I said, man, it doesn't, we're not quite 2 years out. And originally, doctors, they weren't sure if I was going to walk. And then they suggested maybe 12 months, something like that, 10 or 12 months until I'd be walking without assist. But man, I was walking, pretty soon after that. And I was in a walker and that sort of stuff, but I was upright. and just blasted that therapy and just was gung-ho about it on that road to recovery. Now today, though, like I said, I still battle pain and I can't do a lot of the things that I used to be able to do. For example, like, don't get me wrong, I never had an interest to like skydive or to climb Mount Everest, but you guys, I know you guys, in the back of your minds, you're invincible and you could do absolutely anything that you want to do. And you, in the back of your mind, you think, I'd never ever climb Mount Everest, but if you worked hard enough, I know you could freaking climb Mount Everest. Me, on the other hand, I'm to the point physically I just never will be able to do that. So it sucks coming to terms with limitations, and the daily pain. It's just normal. I don't even remember what it's like to not have pain. That's just, it's what it is these days. And pushing past that stuff, and living a life full of passion and having something you're living for is pretty important. So, with this, I've had the opportunity, just like with you guys, I'm sharing this story, and hopefully, somebody can take something away from it. But I've been given the opportunity to share my testimony and share, some of the things that I experienced. And man, that's where it's at. Like, if I had nothing else in this world, that right there is golden. That fulfills your heart. It is the feedback that I've gotten and the way that my story has touched other people and reached other people. It's entirely humbling, man. And I hate that this happened to me, and I have a lot of anger about it and that sort of stuff. But the love and the fulfillment that I can share through it far outshadows the negativity from it.
Oh, absolutely, man. It's an amazing story, man, and I'm glad that you made it through it, honestly. And it's one of those things that you've obviously learned from, and you've changed obviously your lifestyle from, and it's definitely a crazy, crazy thing. I was actually 2 years ago, this June, I was in a really bad car crash also, but nothing like that. I had actually fallen asleep driving home after fishing 5 days, and I put my boat on top of my truck and took out a telephone pole. And
Whoa.
So that was another thing that, like, kind of not as serious as your story, but something that kind of reached out to all others with sleeping and driving or being tired and driving. It's almost as bad as drinking and driving because you have no control. And it was something that could have been way worse, just like your crash, but it was definitely something that definitely changed my outlook on a lot of different things,
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how, something so tragic or painful or scary or whatever it is that's negative can, with the right outlook can be, a positive thing.
Oh, of course. If you don't use it as a positive or in the right direction, I guess
it'll make or break you.
Yeah,
it'll make or break you.
Yeah, I didn't know how to say it. Like,
yeah, No, you're exactly right. There's a lot of people that go through experiences like that. It's the easy route to, say why me, and to sit on the couch and not challenge yourself and not push yourself to make it through therapy or whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
But just pushing through, man. There's a beautiful life to live on the other side, no matter what no matter what obstacles you face. It's pretty amazing. There's a girl, I don't know if you guys have seen her on social media. Her name is Peyton Walter.
Yes.
Oh, yep.
You guys familiar with her?
Yes, sir.
So she was in a boating accident, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 10 days after my wreck. And she broke her spine. And she lost the ability to walk. And while I was in the hospital, I was up to speed with her story and keeping up with her. And she was an inspiration to me. And I remember many times going, oh my God, I just can't imagine going through that. And the attitude that she had and the outlook that she still has today is absolutely amazing. It's humbling. And I just have an unbelievable level of admiration for her. She's unbelievable. She's an unbelievable person. I'm working to put a hunt together with her. I'd love to. I've never even talked to her. You know, we talk on social a little bit, but I'd love to meet her. I'd love to talk to her and learn, you know, more from her or whatever. But man, she's an amazing person. And she's got a heck of a story and is very, very inspirational. I feel like, she's just that light, you know, that guiding light for a lot of people.
That's really amazing, man. You know what I mean? Because I know for a fact there's a ton of people out there that can relate to even a glimpse of your story, and even touching on Peyton's story. It's just one of those things. Again, it can make or break you, but at the same time, it's all about the positivity and wanting to live. And not to make this like a religious sermon, but I mean, there is a higher force, and that's what it takes, is recognizing that higher force. You and I and Trev, we call it God, as long as many others, and there's many gods for many different cultures, but it's like, you, not to quote you, but it is a shame that it takes something so drastic and traumatic to let you realize, but maybe that's God's test, to let you like realize and appreciate what you have.
Yeah, exactly.
Versus indulging in what you have.
No, I totally agree. Dude, I wish if we had 5 hours, I would share with you guys. There are so many stories and so many takeaways from my experience, you know, that I haven't shared with a whole lot of people. But it's just amazing, you know, what we can do with what most perceive as tragic. You know, and I wish I had a platform that I could share it with the entire world.
You do, man. East Coast. You have us, brother. Shit. Right, anytime you want to, just call us.
Yeah.
We're down. Seriously,
but it's amazing, you know, and like you said, it's a matter of perspective, and it's how you look at things, and it's how you take on the world, and break it apart from taking on the world to all the way down to taking on this minute right now. What am I going to do to get through this minute?
Hell yeah. Bro, I mean, not to tickle your pickle, but you're fucking doing it, man. I mean, shit, you died twice and came back, and now you're in full fury of positivity. This is how we introduced you, actually, is in our intro, is, you know, you dabbled with death and came back in full fury of positivity. And we introduced, just for the record, we introduced you as TJ the Hunk Unger. So just so you know, so just be prepared for that as you listen to this.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man. Because I mean, shit, is you're back in full stride. Yeah, you have limitations, but guess what? It ain't stopping you from hitting the hardwoods. And and I mean, we could go on forever, but I really want to ask about the Nebraska kind of venture. You know, because there's a whole ton of like similar friends and people we know. It just seemed like such a badass time, and you could go as deep as you want, because I want to be sensitive to your time. But we really want to hear about the Nebraska trip. You know, RTG, WCB.
Is that Hunt Camp 2018?
Yeah, man, that freaking hunt was, and I wasn't even, you know, I was filming. So Brady, you guys know Brady Miller, my best friend, he was there by my side through everything. So obviously, you know, my wife was there, and I've got, you know, incredible family, but
shout out to Liz, because she's an incredible woman.
She's incredible. She was my angel through everything, but Brady was right there, man. He was right by my side, along with some other great friends. But Brady's bucket list hunt was spot and stalk mule deer hunt. And I was given the opportunity to you know, go out here to Hidden Valley Outfitters in Nebraska with Corey Peterson and all these guys. And I asked if rather than me hunt, if I could give that hunt to Brady to show him my appreciation. So don't get me wrong, I would have loved to do a spot and stock mule deer hunt, but it was just a little gift that I could give back to him to get him to fulfill his bucket list. So that unfolded into, hey, let's see who else wants to join us out here. So Philip talked to Corey, and Corey, he allowed us to bring our best of friends into camp. So Respect the Game and the Working Class Bow Hunter guys. So we extended the invite to everyone. And I'm telling you right now, I think it was my favorite hunt camp that I've ever been on.
Hell yeah.
Man, it was so much fun. We were put up in a hotel. Corey's got a couple of really great houses out there that Respect the Game they slept in, and some of the guys from Carbon, David Farbman and a couple of the other folks, they were out there. But me, Brady, and the Working Class Bow Hunter guys, we stayed over in a hotel not too far. But man, the camaraderie, the hanging out, the best of what makes hunt camp.
The music.
That's what went down. The music, the everything, man. It was so freaking cool. The guys killed an insane number of animals. I don't remember how many hunters there were. Maybe 12 or 13 hunters, and every single hunter had an opportunity, and they're all bow hunting. They can, in Nebraska, you can hunt whitetail or mule deer on the same tag. You can only kill one, obviously, but you can kill either a whitetail or a mule deer. But everyone out of the group, out of that 2 weeks that we were out there, everyone had an opportunity, and all but I think 2 killed. And it was fantastic. The killing part was like second tier to the level of fun that we had.
Yeah, cherry on top. Yeah.
It really was. So Brady and I would go out and we'd go one direction. Eric, Doug, and everybody else, they would go a different direction. Philip would go one direction, and then Larry and Ryan or whoever else was out there at the time, they would go to another farm. So I think Corey has man, I don't want to say it, but I want to say he has access to like 60,000 acres, 60,000 acres out there. And those guys, they put on the miles. So it was hard hunting, but it was an absolute freaking riot. So everybody come back, we'd share breakfast, we'd have lunch together, and we'd go back out, we'd share stories. And then in the evenings, we'd hang out either at the local watering hole or around the lodge back at camp or whatever. We all stayed together. We all laughed. We all told crazy stories. Even though everybody's exhausted after a few days of hunting, everybody stayed together. Everybody's full game. It was incredible. I can easily say it was my very favorite hunt camp that I've had with a group like that. And it's, it also is a testament to the type of people, everybody's super down to earth, and, everyone wants to see everyone else succeed. And, with that, then we all celebrate when each other does have success. So it was amazing. It was an incredible hunt.
Amen, brother. Amen. And I do have to ask, because we had Larry McCoy on as well at the Iowa Deer Classic, and he had mentioned the owl call. I just want to hear a little tidbit.
Dude, it's the wildest. It is the wildest story. So Brady and I started on one farm, and it's spot and stalk, and the terrain isn't, it's not flat by any means, but it's like rolling hills. We started at one farm, and basically, we used Onyx to know where we needed to stay so far as the properties and the farmers and that sort of stuff. So Corey, the owner out there, he was basically said, okay, you can stay on this guy's land, this guy's land, and this guy's land. Well, those 3 dudes, you're covering like 12 miles of ground, something insane like that. And Brady and I started at one end, and we got so far away, I had to call Philip back at camp and say, look, I'm going to need somebody to move my truck. And according to Onyx, I'm going to need them to take the truck here. So somebody moved my truck for us, and Brady and I basically used that as our destination to where we were trying to get to. I can't even tell you how many miles it was. And we worked and worked and worked through all these hills trying to find mule deer. And it was hot, and, we're just not having much activity. And it was the last hour of that hunt, and we're both, dude, we're done. Like, it's how all great hunting stories end, when you know that there's not a chance left whatsoever. You're down, you're thinking, God, this hunt sucked. We saw some beautiful scenery, but we didn't even see, you're just down, and you've got no positivity left. We are probably a quarter of a mile, maybe half a mile from my truck. And we're like, all right, well, sun is getting pretty low. By the time we make it all the way over there through these hills, we should probably pick up and head that way. And we get up and we're walking through, and Brady waves to me. He's like, dude, come check out this pot field. So hemp grows wild out there. It's from like the native the original settlers out there. They farmed hemp, and there were hemp fields freaking everywhere. And Brady he stumbled on like a 5-acre hemp field, and it was beautiful. Really luscious green hemp field. And so I walked over, and I'm snapping it. I'm taking a video and laughing and giggling, carrying on. And Brady, his perception of what we're looking at kind of gets dialed in, and he sees a buck bedded down there. And it's only, I don't even know if it's 20 yards from us. It's like 15 yards bedded down in this hemp field, nose away from us. And we're in a pretty great vantage point. Brady ends up sticking it. It's his first archery buck. And so I'm trying to connect with either Philip or Larry or somebody to let them know that we killed, and we need somebody to come freaking get us, help us out,
Yeah.
So Larry answers, and while we're talking, he's like, well, where are you guys at? I'm like, I have no idea. And he's like, well, let me do this. We're up in the tree stand. We'll figure out how we need to get to you guys, blah, blah, blah. We hang up. Brady and I are high-fiving. We're carrying on, and blah, blah, blah. And Larry calls me right back, and he goes, where the hell are you guys? I'm like, I don't know. I think we're by the plum thicket.
Because he could hear you laugh or something, right?
And he's like, I think we can hear you. I'm like, no way. We're in the middle of freaking nothing, dude. And he goes, I'm telling you, I think we can hear you. He said, owl hoot. And I gave like a pretty rough owl hoot. It was.
Can we get a sample? Can we get a sample?
That I'm going to come up with.
All right.
And he obviously made fun of me for my hideous owl. And I'm like, well, whoa. You owl hoot. And he owl hoots back, and I'm like, damn, you actually sound like an owl.
Come on, let's be humble. Let's get a sample, man. This is a hidden talent of yours. I want to hear.
I don't even know if I can pull it out.
Come on. There you go.
It's terrible. But
I love it.
He's going to gobble at it, and owls are going to fire back too. So,
right. That's beautiful, man. Awesome.
So it turns out Larry and Ryan were like 150 yards from us, from where we recovered Brady's buck. So they ended up climbing out of the stand. They went over and grabbed their truck and drove right up to where we were. So the coolest part about that, we got to celebrate as a group. It's me, Larry, Ryan, and Brady in the middle of what we thought was freaking nothing. And we got to do the whole celebration over there. So super, super cool, man. Awesome hunt. Unbelievable how you can get from one side of what we felt like to the county to the other, and end up being 150 yards from your best buds, to celebrate, somebody's first archery buck. So pretty incredible. It was incredible. You can watch the hunt obviously on Carbon TV if you haven't, but a lot of animals were tipping over, and a heck of a time was had. So we also did a few podcasts with the guys, and they're very, very entertaining. Pretty educational, but really funny stuff. So we had a blast, man. Absolute blast. I remember one evening, it was probably towards the end of the hunt. We all went down to the watering hole and played some pool and carried on and driving back to the hotel, which is like a half a block. Driving a half a block, I had Ryan, Clint, Schwach. He came out. He met up with us towards the end.
Oh, sweet.
Doug, Eric, Brady, me. I don't know who all was in my truck, but we were bumping Easy-E through downtown Arnold, Nebraska, as loud as it could go. All the LEDs inside the truck lit up. Just high times, man. We were having a blast. And that's, those are the memories and the laughs that stick with us, man. That was a great, great trip. So we're working on actually coordinating another Virtue hunt camp. So, it's tough. It's tough to find a place that can accommodate a bunch of idiots like us.
Hey, my brother lives in Omaha. I don't know how close that is to that, but he definitely accommodates. I know a Mexican out Midwest.
Let's take it offline because we haven't secured the exact spot that we're doing 2019 yet. So, we were trying to mix up venues a little bit. Killing that many animals, that's a lot of pressure on an outfitter. So, we got to reel it in a little bit, but more so it's just about getting together. I don't care if I'm hunting or not. Like, seriously, I don't. I was drawn in Kansas. Philip and I are going to hunt together in Kansas and switch back and forth filming each other. But
hell yeah.
I told him, I've got the expense of the license, but dude, if I don't hunt the whole time that I'm out there, I don't care. It's a tiny little expense to get to make memories with your family and your best dudes. And that's to me, that's what it's all about. I truthfully don't care if I'm hunting or if I'm filming or just hanging out in camp. That's what hunting's all about.
Amen, brother. Amen. So, TJ, you made it to our next segment of Ninja Tip of the Day. Is TJ Unger, what good advice do you have for our listeners for the outdoors or life in general? Ninja Tip of the Day.
Man, you're putting me on the spot.
A little bit.
So I'm going to give this tip, but it's kind of a tip that I need to take for myself.
Okay.
So I got to change things up. Here on my home state, it's been a few years since I've been successful in the whitetail woods. And what I have always done is I am so worried about screwing something up. So 2018 season, I had my heart set on an absolute world-class mega giant whitetail that I watched grow for many, many years. And he broke that 200-inch mark easily. And I knew he did. And we knew that he did just based on trail camera pictures. But I was so timid every time that I entered the woods. I didn't want to screw anything up. And because of that, I stayed too far outside. I skirted the edges too much. And I just, what's the opposite of an aggressive hunter? Whatever that is, I was like polar opposite. So I know that there's a balance, but my tip is don't be afraid to push the boundaries and push what your level of comfort is, even just a little bit, in getting a little bit more aggressive. I don't care if it's in the whitetail woods, the turkey woods, or what have you, but pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone a little bit in pursuit of whatever that success is, I think you're going to get there. So that's what I'm going to have to swallow this year, at the risk of failing, at the risk of making a poor decision. It's better for me than not taking those risks at all. So I say that very generally. You could take it as, I hate, somebody says, I hate my job, I hate what I do for a living, and they'll sit around and complain about it, and they'll go to work the next day and they do the same thing over and over and over again. Don't be afraid to take a risk and pursue what you really, really want, and be a little bit more aggressive at it. And hopefully you achieve, whatever that dream is. So I'm covering all borders, whether it's the hunting woods or life, but this year, 2019 season, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive and push a little bit harder for the things that I want.
Amen, brother. Amen. Because you know what? Honestly, if you get that on film, whatever it involves, whether it be life or outdoors, that's what's real. And that's what people want to relate to most. So that's actually really good advice all the way around, especially in the hunting industry. You need to show what's real. And not to, I mean, one of the other people that I had the utmost pleasure to meet and shake hands with is Steve Ranella. And obviously a lot of people look up to him or what have you, but I feel like even he realized that he needs to go back to his roots some, because when he first started off was just that, as being, not to sound very cliche, but being real. And then he kind of got a bit commercialized. And then he kind of, nowadays, he's segueing back to, you hear him cussing a bit here and there. Maybe not dropping F-bombs like we do, but, he's definitely noticing that people want to see what's real. So
right.
That's really awesome ninja tip from TJ Unger to just really push yourself and be more real. Don't be afraid to fail. And I really, really encourage everyone to follow suit, because that's awesome advice, man. And especially coming from someone, I mean, shit, you're an angel, man. I mean, you've been there and back, and now you're like full force of positivity, man. I'm telling you, bro.
I appreciate it. It means a lot to me, really.
I really hope you can make the shoot. I know by now when we publish this, it'll be after the shoot, but man, just to give you a handshake and definitely a big old hug, man. If that could happen, that'll make my year. Because
if it's not at the shoot, we'll definitely make our paths cross. Hopefully, we can figure out this hunt camp. We'll extend an invite, and even if not, we do all the shows, so ATA and NWTF and all the major shows we go to. That's our way that we can connect with everybody. But we absolutely have to make our paths cross, man.
Word, without a doubt, and maybe share a glass or two of Elijah Craig. It's one of those things, So TJ Unger, that's our shameful excuse of the next segment. What rattles your antlers? What gets what gets under your skin in the outdoor industry or in life in general?
Do you really want to know?
I do. I think the listeners do more than I do, but yeah, enlighten us.
Here's the thing. Like, I love positivity. I love love. I love sharing that with everybody, and I love, trying to inspire and build each other up, right? That's what this is all about, is sharing love. One thing that absolutely just tears me up is the negativity that in this hunting industry. So we'll keep it restricted to that. In this hunting industry, there has become this little bitty like network of assholes that they have this little Instagram account. Maybe it's on Facebook now. I don't know. And their mission is to call out anyone and anything that they find that might cause shock and might cause some stirring and really just negativity amongst fellow hunters. And I just cannot stand it. I mean, I don't even care. I'll call them out. What is it? Making hunting great again, or whatever it is.
Oh,
are you guys familiar with this?
Yeah.
And look, if you guys follow them or friends or whatever, that's fine.
No, I don't follow.
But I have a real hard time with it because it's fueled by hate. It's fueled by negativity. It's fueled by the destruction of other people. Now, they may just say, oh, we're just kidding, or we're just, you shouldn't be offended by this or that. Well, you know what? Everybody's got feelings, and I don't care who the guy or girl is behind it. If he's ever felt the pain of being pushed down or being bullied or being shamed or whatever it is, It's awful. It is absolutely freaking terrible. And that is exactly what they're doing every single day. And I hate it. I hate it so much that I encourage anybody that's listening to this to shut them down. Shut it down. Don't follow them. Don't buy into it, because what I see happening is other people are fearful that they're going to be the next person to be bashed. So they feed into it. They laugh at the jokes and they comment this or that. But I think it's out of fear. So I did that as a kid. Somebody was bullying somebody else, and I was afraid that they were going to bully me. So I laughed at their jokes. It wasn't genuine and it wasn't authentic, but I laughed at them just so they didn't pick on me next. That's exactly what's happening with this stupid account. And the guy's an asshole. And I feel like if I could sit down in a room with him, I would love to talk one-on-one with whoever he is. I'd love to talk to him on a podcast. I don't care what it is, but dude's got to realize he's hurting other people. And that is what is wrong with our society today, 100%. That is my soapbox.
I can't thank you enough for educating us on that.
TJ Unger with what rattles his antlers. That's awesome.
Because honestly, like, I'll admit it. I follow him on Instagram. I follow that page, but I didn't really actually think of it in that aspect of it. So it kind of educated me in the aspect of what at that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think of it like that.
And we're soldiers of the greater good. So, Trev, what are you going to do?
I'm going to unfollow him.
Amen.
Honestly.
Amen.
Or we could reach out to him and get him on a podcast and tell him how we really feel about him.
Nah.
I want to be the first guy that talks to him. I'm not going to be hateful whatsoever.
Oh, no. It's all positive,
just a
brother.
level of enlightenment that, he or she may think that it's all fun and games, and it's, that there's no victim in the whole thing. But, dude, people's feelings are real. In our society, we are at an all-time high for suicide rates. And, there are so many people after the hunting industry and so many people after our rights that we have that, I hear it all the time. Waddell says, hey, I don't care what you're hunting with. Build each other up. Great. That's fine. This is one of those deals, though, that this dude is tearing people down, and it just has to stop. And it's not because of anything more than it's attention. It's all I can think of, and it sucks.
It's the only thing that makes sense. And there's actually a few other groups that I could think of. I won't name them off, but I've unfollowed them, and it's just one of those things. It just seems like it's fueled by, not to name it this, but it's fueled by fire, and fire being the negativity. And it seems like everyone has an opinion, and it's very, it must seem to be the way nowadays, because there's not any more repercussions to like the old school ways. I mean, TJ, Trev is 28 at the shoot. And, again, in podcast land, this is after the shoot, but at the shoot, Trev is going to be 29 years old, almost 30. You and I, you're 39, I'm 37 going on 38. It's like we've lived a different life. And in our time, if people talk smack, you either confront them eye to eye and work it out. If not, you duke it out and you come to terms afterwards. Maybe even buy each other a drink afterwards.
Right.
You know, and that's the life we grew up in, because that's a life of respect. And not to knock Trev's upbringing at all, it's just the generation he's stuck in is the keyboard warriors, so to speak. And this gets brought up often. And we encourage anyone out there to not be afraid to stick up for the nerd. Because you know what? I was a jock growing up in high school, and I wasn't the popular jock. I was just really good at what I did. But at the same time, I was stuck up for the nerds or the geeks or what have you, because I was one of them, Right. And that's the greater good. Is you stick up for people's feelings. Because at the end of the day, guess what? We're going to make a better world by making sure everyone is taken care of.
Amen.
And I was that same exact way, honestly. Like, I was kind of like the misfit or the outsider in the jock world, and was doing the same exact thing. But I think going back on the whole social media thing is that, like Garrett will say, you can say anything on social media and not be liable to get punched in the mouth. And I think that's one of the biggest problems. Like people, there was a
respect is lost
with the social media thing is that you're not held liable for what you say. More or less, you can say whatever you want and it goes wherever it wants to go. You're not liable for it. Other than somebody else saying something, so you can say whatever you want.
And lo and behold, you don't even know the magnitude where someone's feelings might go to, because not every person is the same. So to spin this to a positive. What TJ was preaching on is be mindful. Everyone's not as strong as you think they may be, and consider that. Just consider it, because you know what? It might prevent you from writing or posting a sentence or even a few sentences that might turn someone for the worse. So just be mindful. I mean, I'm sorry to speak for you, TJ, but that's what I took out from what you were just saying, man.
No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right, 100%. Don't get me wrong. I am not a perfect example all the time, but just, like you said, being mindful of other people's feelings and doing our best to build each other up instead of tearing each other down. It's really, really hard to do sometimes, especially with people that we don't care for or whatever, but a lot of times people don't even know it. They're not aware that they're being rude or that they're being, they're outcasting someone else or whatever. But, challenging ourselves to build others up in adversity is, that's the primary goal. I'm just like when I'm saying, you guys early on when you ask for a tip or whatever, there's a level where I'm like, hey, I don't know. Somebody might call me out because they don't agree with that tip or whatever. Ultimately, I don't care. I don't mind. It's not going to hurt my feelings or whatever. But a lot of people have that level of a lack of confidence, or they lack self-esteem or whatever. But I love an opportunity to help someone and educate and build up someone that doesn't have that confidence, or maybe doesn't have the level of knowledge, or isn't comfortable trying something new. So, we're talking about a lot of archery hunting and whatever else. There's a lot of people that just aren't comfortable jumping over and trying, getting rid of their gun to try archery hunting, or, get rid of their bow and try gun hunting or whatever. But building somebody up and giving them the confidence to challenge themselves, to do something else, or inspire them to challenge themselves, to learn something new. I really think that's what we're here to do. And ultimately to share love, share love and share passion. And at the end of the day, we sleep pretty good at night.
Amen. #unity. And
that's right.
On that note, let's go around the positivity. Trev, what you got?
I think, honestly, a round of positivity is just, tonight I think that this podcast has honestly made me a better person. Taking in everything from the angel himself, TJ Unger. I mean, hearing your story and everything like that, and just your passion for the outdoors and your passion for other people and everything like that, it's kind of just made me step back and think about, what I could do to be a better person and to guide people in the right direction. And that's my round of positivity.
That's awesome. TJ, what do you got, man?
Brother, that's huge. That's huge. I appreciate it. And that means a lot that you say that. People love. They love. And we as dudes need to not be afraid to share our emotion and share our love for each other. It's usually not the popular thing to do. But you guys do a great job at that. You guys always are pushing unity and man, I don't know. I think especially as guys, we gotta break down the barriers of whatever it is, the macho, the egos, the everything else, and not be afraid to be in touch with our emotions and being able to speak to one another and share how it makes us feel, and ultimately that's going to help us all really achieve our goals.
Amen to that too. Shit, I feel like I'm at a sermon because This is like the most raw, real, no bullshit, quote unquote, the modern assassin out of Maryland. This is the best way to segue into love, unity, and understanding. And what I take away out of this episode around the positivity is, again, TJ, exactly what you just said is the love. I mean, we need more of that. If you have a brother out there that you can say I love you to, I mean, shit. Everyone out there listening right now, you know who you are. I say I love you every time we hang up. And it might feel awkward to you at first, but after you hang up, I know you appreciate that shit. And I'm going to continue to instill that shit. So,
it's awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah. So everyone out there, TJ Unger from the Virtue TV, thank you for coming on. I love you. East Coast Shreb, I love you. And on that note, stay stepping.
And stay slaying.
Podcast go. Straight to hell. Yeah, speaking of hell, check out East Coast Bowhunting Podcast.
We keep it real on the East Coast.
First of all, I'm addicted to the show.
I like that. That's cool.
Home or hunt, you live it, you breathe it.
It's a whole different world.
Just East Coast has a little bit more of an edge and a grind.
It's a fantastic thing.
You guys are fucking awesome.
Well, number one is you guys like beer. I want to feel like I'm hanging with the boys.
You're the guys that showed up.
But I actually saw Jesus.
The point where it is now where it's insane.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
I just want to get the realest people possible in the industry.
You're just going to piss people off. You're not doing it right.
Nothing forced. All fucking natural.